bring it down because I'd like to leave early. Please, please, please. I'd get that cough scene to it. That's terrible, isn't it? What a terrible thing. Good evening, thank you very much. Have you had one of these yet? This is the census form, I'm sure you have. And in the past, I've been more than happy to oblige. I'm sure you've all filled these in already, have you? Good, audience participation, that's what we like on the show. Smart as whips, this bunch are. But I don't know if you looked at this current census form, and of course you should remember it's against the law not to complete this document. I don't mind the nosy, prying sections on home, family, work and personal sexual habits, but when you get to this bit, I don't know if you see this, section 23, panel R4, I really think they begin to lose it. For instance, it says here, trousers. Do you put your trousers on A, one leg at a time, or B, fewer than one leg at a time? And here, if you see this, but under the heading Eurovision, it says, tick which you consider the greater record, Ding a Dong, Save Your Kisses for Me, or Dana's All Kind of Everything. And you're almost as fast as the audience this evening, aren't you? And would someone explain, please, the relevance of this question 64? It says, after a row between your partner, describe the feeling when your bums accidentally touch in bed that night. Anyway, well, no. Whatever you do, don't try that at home. But first to business, with an irresistible warning that later on, joining us will be pop star and virtual real person Wendy James, plus the superb prospect of live music from Pete Wiley, with, as always, Steve Naive and his Prying Eyes of Love Band. Vivian Lee phone, better call that back. Ladies and gentlemen, space is not remote. If your car could drive straight upwards, you could be there within an hour. But our fascination with the planets and civilizations in which blue is an accepted colour for flesh leads us to demand an extremely high standard from anyone who attempts to bring those images to life. Star Trek may be the most famous example of the genre, but my first guests, in their quiet, homegrown way, are equally as revered and just as deeply missed. Take a look at this. Reunited from all 19 corners of the universe, please welcome from Blake 7, Gareth Thomas, Michael Keating and Jacqueline Pearce. Well, thanks very much for joining us this evening. I'm a fan of most science fiction stuff on TV, but I remember Blake 7 very fondly. Remind me now, Gareth, I told you, because you were Blake, of course.
Yes.
Before the beard, you were Blake.
Yes, yeah. And before the weight went on and the hair went grey. And yeah.
Now, how long ago was it the series actually ended?
I think it was 10 years. It actually finished.
It's a long time, isn't it?
But it's been kept going in America, over here. It's extraordinary.
And they've just released them on video as well.
Yes, we're in the top 10.
Oh, fantastic. There you go. Just beaten by Postman Pat and Bill and Ben or something,
yes.
I don't know.
Well, between them.
Does it surprise you that it has such a following? I mean, when you were doing it at the time, did you think that it would live on?
Not live on as much as it has, but yes, we thought it was going to be a cult programme. Yeah. Because any science fiction is. Look at Star Trek, look at Doctor Who.
Do you think that was the appeal, or do you think there was actually more than just the fact that the genre was science fiction?
No, I think it was a totally new concept at the time, and it just took off, and it was wonderful. We actually beat Coronation Street on one episode.
Now, Michael, you were Vila, of course.
I was.
You were always the coward.
Well, yes, I was careful about what I did, where I went. In fact, they did change my character slightly in one episode because my daughter Lisa, she was 6, and she said, "What a Burke you are, Father." And I told the script editor, and he actually wrote an episode for me where I killed the villain, got the girl, and then left her on the planet. So it changed slightly.
Just a little bit there.
Yeah.
But the plot, if I remember, basically was the fight against tyranny. It was you versus the Federation, the evil Federation, as personified by Jacqueline in her role, which we'll get into in a minute. But do you think, was there more to it? Was there a sort of subplot that
I think originally it was going to be a sort of Dirty Dozen in space, but there was a big thing about violence on television in 1978.
Also, the BBC could only afford 7 anyway.
That's, well,
was that why it was 7? That's why it wasn't Blake's 23 or something?
Yeah,
it was just a budgetary thing.
In fact, there were only 6 of us, as I remember. I think.
And a voice.
And a voice.
The honorary 7th, I believe, was in the audience this evening. Jacqueline, you played. Now, what was the name of your character again?
Servalan.
That was a great character as well. She was a nasty piece of work, wasn't she?
A baddie.
A baddie. Thank you, Gaza. Yes, Gaza is in the building, ladies and gentlemen. It's here this evening. Let's remind us of what it was like, because we have a clip to show you, and this should take you back, and I'm sure all viewers. This was the clip, Blake 7, all those years ago.
I think you're going to kill me, Travis. With or without orders from the Supreme Commander.
With orders, Blake. All right, Travis. Go ahead.
Don't move.
Good shot, Avon.
I was aiming for his head. You took your time. What have you been up to?
We had a few minor problems.
Well, what are you waiting for? Come on, man, why don't you kill us?
No. I've got a better idea. We'll get a message through to the Federation. Tell them that you let us take Aurak. I'm sure they'll be quite fascinated by your explanation.
I remember watching that. It's a terrible pimple he had as well, wasn't it?
Oh,
that was awful.
Terrible.
And I said, you were a villain, of course, but were you still a popular character? Did you get much fan mail?
Yes, she was a very popular character, and I think it was because what made her interesting, she was very feminine, a very feminine woman in the way she looked, and that developed as the series went on. But she looked like a woman and she behaved like a man, and I think the combination was very interesting.
It's always excited me knowing, certainly. Now, what about the props that were used in it? Because you can tell, and this is no disrespect intended, that it didn't really bust the BBC budget.
No.
I think they spent more money on some of Bruce Forsyth's toupees, and they did an entire 4 series of Blake 7. Did they disappear? We have some copies of them here, but what happened to the originals?
Well, they did disappear. I remember at the end of the first season, we were down to 1 gun,
One gun, I think, yes. I think
and
one
1
gun,
belt,
yeah.
which didn't fit either of us.
Which meant we had to have close-ups all the time.
Yes.
So who was wandering off with these? You know where they went to?
Who knows?
Just going off there.
We only had one of the bracelets, too.
Well, we got some of the things here. This is
A Federation helmet.
And now these are worn by people who collect the poll tax across. Where you see these. And come and make sure your census form is done in correctly. And these were the various ray guns. Now this, I believe, was the first ray gun, wasn't it?
That's right.
Yeah.
Sort of hairdryer.
You don't often see these things outside of clinics these days,
No.
do you?
Well, that one works.
Yeah.
Well, now these have been made by some of your fans. I know some of the Blake 7 fans. Are they active? Do they keep in touch with you?
Yes, so very much so. They're superb, actually.
Yeah.
Yes, they are.
Quite
There's no
extraordinary.
fan like a Blake 7 fan.
Well, we have some in the audience that said, I want to go and ask them a few questions to find out. Well, so if you'll just hang around here, let's go and see who we have here. Now, I think, if I'm right, you're Diane, is that right? You're Diane. Now, Diana, so what's the appeal for you as one of the Super Blake 7 fan? What is the appeal of Blake 7?
It's really the characters, the way they interacted, the humour, and the way they evolved throughout the series. They continue to grow, and we continue to follow them. Also, the appeal, I think, is the spaceships disguised as hairdryers and kitchen utensils flying. That was very good. And Avon's black leather. That was.
So you like the black leather?
Yeah.
You like the guy with the bad eye, no doubt. What if people wanted to join the fan club? What kind of things would they get out of being? Is Horizon the name of your fan club?
It's called Horizon. We've been going for 11 years. It's our birthday this week, actually.
Well, happy
11
birthday.
years. Thank you. We do a newsletter. They get 4 of these. I don't know if the camera can see it there.
Yeah.
And a photograph of their favourite character, membership card, and also there's more merchandise like little bits and pieces, fan fiction, technical manual, mugs.
I can see we have a lot of people in the audience
everything.
now. Keen to join already.
They've already joined.
How much does it cost to join up?
£8.50
What
a
a
year
bargain.
in the UK.
Well, there you go. Well, you can sign me up for some of those.
It's pretty good.
And do you get to meet up with the Blake 7 people often?
From time to time they do conventions and they come to some of our fundraising things. We do a lot of fundraising. to celebrate the 10th anniversary of when it was first shown, we raised £6,000 for charity.
And is it an amicable thing, or do you like follow them home and peek through the windows and stuff?
Well, we try, but you know.
They won't have any of that. Well,
No, they shoot us with the ray guns.
Well, I should imagine they would. Yes. So obviously a loyal.
Oh, yes, very much so.
A loyal following there.
Oh, yes.
And do you attend the conventions? Do you join in actively?
When we can, yes. Obviously, it depends on work, because we have to work if we can. But mostly, yes.
So with as loyal a following as that, why was it cancelled then? Why did the BBC pull the plug?
Well, we don't know, but one of the obvious reasons was that you had two protagonists, basically, Blake and the Federation.
Yeah.
There's a limit to how far you can go without one of them winning.
Yeah. And Blake got killed off, of course, in the end, didn't he?
Yes.
So that kind of, I guess, makes it harder to carry on with Blake 7 when Blake's no more.
Then I was informed by a fan that, yes, but in episode something there was a clone, and perhaps it was the clone that got killed.
That would have been handy, wouldn't it? Handy. If you were asked, would you do another series? Would you shave the beard off and get back out there and start?
If I could lose the weight, yes.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Maybe he died and then put on a lot of weight and came back. That's what happens to people when they pass on. Clones eat a lot more. So you would do another series?
Oh, yes.
So let's ask Jordan, would you like to see another series of Blake 7? Well, what a surprise coming from this bunch over here. Listen, it's been a pleasure meeting you. Thanks so much for coming on. I hope there's another series. I'd love to see maybe a special or something. That'd be great. Thank you very much indeed. Michael, Jacqueline and Gareth. Thank you.